So we can go ahead and get started. It's now 12:05, and I will call the July 2021 meeting of the District of Columbia Board of Ethics and Government Accountability to order. I'm Norma Hutcheson, the BEGA Chairperson, and due to COVID-19, this meeting is being held virtually via WebEx. Joining me today for this meeting are board members Charles Nottingham, Melissa Tucker, and Felice Smith. Together, we constitute a quorum for this meeting. So I don't think there have been any changes to the agenda since it was first posted. So would someone please make a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or discussion? If not, all those in favor of adopting the agenda as it's been printed, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Any nays? Okay, hearing none, the agenda for today's meeting has been adopted. And before us today are the June 3rd, 2021 draft meeting minutes. And will you please have a motion to approve those minutes, please?
I'll offer the motion to approve the minutes from the June meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any questions or concerns about the minutes? Let's move on it. Okay, hearing none, all those in favor of adopting the minutes from the June 3rd meeting, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any opposition? Well, no opposition. I heard 3 ayes and there are only 3 of you out there. Okay, hearing none, the board approves the minutes from the June 3rd meeting. So next we'll have a report from the Office of Open Government, and OOG Director Niquelle Allen will provide a report on behalf of the office, and she is appearing virtually by WebEx. Director Allen, please proceed.
Good afternoon, Chairperson Hutcheson and members of the board. I am Niquelle Allen, Director of Open Government. I am pleased to present this report on the activities of the Office of Open Government. Since the last board meeting, the Office of Open Government has continued to fulfill its mission of ensuring that all persons receive full and complete information regarding the affairs of the district government and the actions of those who represent them. I will start with Open Meetings Act and Freedom of Information Act advice rendered by the office. The Office of Open Government has not issued any advisory opinion since the last board meeting. The next item is FOIA advice issued formally. FOIA request to BEGA. The rules concerning DC government agencies processing of FOIA requests continue to be impacted by the public health emergency. BEGA's offices are currently closed due to the COVID-19 public health emergency, and BEGA staff is currently working in a posture of full telework. So if a FOIA request to BEGA requires BEGA's FOIA officer or BEGA staff to search for a record in BEGA's physical offices, those requests will not be due until 45 days after the public health emergency has concluded. All other FOIA requests that BEGA receives are processed under the normal FOIA rules. BEGA is providing BEGA's pending FOIA requesters with a letter detailing COVID-19 related changes to the FOIA requirements and the impact of those changes on FOIA processing. The next item is FOIA policy advice to OCTO. OOG's Chief Counsel, Johnny Barton, responded to a request for policy assistance from the Office of the Chief Technology Officer, or OCTO. OCTO requested assistance on how to handle DC FOIA requests for telephone logs on numbers used and controlled by another District of Columbia government agency. On June 11, 2021, the Office of Open Government issued a legal and policy memorandum regarding the process for handling FOIA requests for telephone logs. The document provides guidance for responding to telephone log FOIA requests. Requesters should submit FOIA requests for telephone logs to the agency assigned the telephone number, not to the custodian of the telephone logs, which in this case is OCTO. Similar to the procedures for emails and contracts, OOG advised that OCTO's role as custodian should simply be to collect potentially responsive telephone log data upon a request from an agency and forward it to the agency. Therefore, the agency would carry out the formal response to the requester, including producing the responsive records, if any. The next item is informal Open Meetings Act and FOIA advice. Since the last board meeting, OOG responded informally via email or telephone to requests for assistance as follows. The office responded to 15 requests for Open Meetings Act advice. The office responded to 11 requests for Freedom of Information Act advice, and the office responded to 27 requests for technical assistance with open-dc.gov, our website. The next item is training and outreach. The first item is the Tipped Workers Coordinating Council Open Meetings Act training. On June 8, 2021, Chief Counsel Barton conducted an Open Meetings Act training for the TWCC. The council's purpose is to improve coordination and functioning of wage policies for tip workers. The Department of Employment Services serves as the administrative point of contact for this public body. The training was well received by the public body, and attorneys Orgy and Wheel attended this Open Meetings Act training along with Attorney Barton. Production and filming of the Open Meetings Act training video. On June 10, 2021, I visited the Office of Cable Television, Film, Music, and Entertainment, OCT FME's production studio and filmed the OOG's Open Meetings Act training video. I read an 11-page script that will be the basis of the training video. The script included instruction and voice-over vignettes. OCT FME is utilizing animation in place of live talent due to the pandemic, and the remainder of the video is currently under production. The video is slated to be completed in August and will be broadcast on OCT FME's public channels. The next item is the Open Government Advisory Group meeting. On June 10, 2021, Chief Counsel Barton attended the Open Government Advisory Group meeting on my behalf. The Open Government Advisory Group evaluates the District of Columbia's progress on and makes specific recommendations on improving information access. The group makes recommendations regarding open government issues in the district and includes the district data policy and best practices concerning access to records. This was OGAG's first meeting since the commencement of the public health emergency. The meeting concerned the group's strategic policies, and there was a new chairperson, Vanessa Natali, of the Mayor's Office of Legal Counsel. And the next item is live online privacy training by the International Association of Privacy Professionals. On June 15th, June 17th, June 22nd, and June 24th, I attended a professional development course on privacy and data protection. The course provided an in-depth view of critical privacy laws and concepts relevant to U.S. organizations. The last item is FOIA training for new employees. On June 23rd, Attorney DeBerry conducted a FOIA training for OOG's new staff attorneys. Chief Counsel Barton, Attorney Orgy, and Attorney Will attended the training. The next item is litigation and legislative update. Litigation. OOG is monitoring FOIA-related cases in D.C. Superior Court. The agency is not a party to either of the lawsuits I am providing an update on. I'm providing this information for the board's awareness of litigation that may impact the operation and interpretation of D.C. FOIA law. The first case is the TPM lawsuit update. This is an update on a FOIA case filed against the District of Columbia on July 13, 2020 by Terrace, Plavick, and Millen, otherwise known as TPM. The FOIA lawsuit alleges that the District of Columbia government failed to produce and post online various budget-related documents as required by FOIA. The complaint alleges that the Executive Office of the Mayor failed to produce documents related to the Office of the State Superintendent of Education and District of Columbia Public Schools. On June 11, 2021, TPM submitted plaintiff's reply in support of its motion for summary judgment, declaratory judgment, and a permanent injunction in opposition to defendant's cross motion for summary judgment. TPM argues that the mayor's motion for summary judgment merely restates the motion to dismiss without responding to the court's analysis, so it should be summarily denied on the same grounds. TPM argues both standing and cause of action under DC FOIA to sue is not just for denial of its request, but also over failure to post docs proactively in the reading room. TPM cites authority to argue that an unsuccessful reading room search gives rise to a cognizable injury. Moreover, TPM notes that its substantial reasons for or interest in the record requested are immaterial as to its standing. TPM argues the proactive disclosure of DC FOIA Section 206 is applicable to the facts of the case. DC's reply was due on June 30th, yesterday. A status hearing is also scheduled for July 23rd, 2021. The next lawsuit we're monitoring is the Stop and Frisk FOIA lawsuit that was filed on February 16th by the ACLU against DC, seeking records concerning stop and frisk by MPD. A status hearing in that case is also scheduled for July 23rd, 2021, and OOG will continue to monitor these matters. The next matter is legislation. Bill 24-0311, the Comprehensive Policing and Justice Reform Congressional Review Emergency Act of 2021, was passed unanimously on June 29, 2021. This emergency legislation focuses on improving police accountability and transparency. The legislation touches on open government issues in that this bill amends the body-worn camera regulation and reporting requirements as follows. Within 5 business days after a request from the chairperson of the council committee with jurisdiction over the Metropolitan Police Department, the Metropolitan Police Department shall provide unredacted copies of the requested body-worn camera recordings to the chairperson. The body-worn camera recordings shall not be publicly disclosed by the chairperson of the council. Also, within 5 business days after an officer involved death or serious use of force, the mayor shall publicly release the names of body-worn camera recordings of all officers who committed the officer-involved death or serious use of force. The mayor may, on a case-by-case basis in matters of significant public interest and after consultation with the Chief of Police, U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Columbia, and the Office of the Attorney General, publicly release any other body-worn camera recordings that may not otherwise be releasable pursuant to a FOIA request. The mayor may not release a body-worn camera recording if the individual or the of kin informs the mayor orally or in writing that they do not consent to its release. In the event of a disagreement between the persons who must consent to the release, the mayor shall seek resolution in Superior Court of the District of Columbia. The Superior Court of D.C. shall order the release of the body-worn camera recording if it finds the release is in the interest of justice. MPD must also notify the decedent's next of kin of the impending release and the date of the release. MPD must also offer the decedent's next of kin the opportunity to view the body-worn camera recording privately in a non-law enforcement setting in advance of its release. MPD has to consult with an organization with expertise in trauma and grief on best practices for creating an opportunity for the decedent's next of kin to view the body-worn camera recording in advance of its release to the public. This measure mirrors the Comprehensive Policing and Justice Reform Temporary Amendment Act of 2021 enacted on May 25th, 2021. The temporary act is currently undergoing congressional review with October 22nd, 2021 as the projected law date. The next and final item are administrative matters. First is virtual training platform for parliamentary procedure. OOG has been able to utilize its vacancy savings to create a virtual training portal to provide parliamentary procedure training resources for public bodies. We are working with the Office of Contracting and Procurement to secure the services of a vendor to host a web portal to provide remote training on Robert's Rules of Order for the district's public bodies. We are looking to launch the portal in August. The portal will include the training video that I discussed earlier that OOG is working on to produce with OCT FME, and also will include original programming from the vendor on parliamentary procedure. The next item is the DC FY22 budget oversight hearing. On June 16, 2021, the Committee on Human Services held a budget oversight hearing via the Zoom platform for the Board of Ethics and Government Accountability. OOG requested 2 budget enhancements, as you are aware of, that are specific to our office that will assist with BEGA's mission concerning open government. First, we requested funding for paralegal. Second, we requested additional funds to enhance the training portal, which I just discussed, which will have additional license so we continue using it in FY22. The agency requested funds to move to a leased facility that is of a proper size to house the agency and meet our operational needs. And we also requested additional administrative staff that would enhance our operations as an agency. Subsequent to a hearing, the council chair requested updated data on our performance, which we provided. The performance data, along with my written testimony, is in Dropbox. Lastly, return to the workplace. Agencies under the mayor will return to in-office service on July 12, 2021. BEGA will remain in full situational telework status until further notice, as you know, and will continue to offer its services remotely during the public health emergency. BEGA employees may provide in-office service with the permission of either director. BEGA's leadership has committed to working in the office periodically, and administrative staff is also working in the office periodically. We are currently considering future plans for employees to return to the Berry building as the pandemic eases sometime in FY22. This concludes the Office of Open Government July 1st, 2021 report. Please let me know if you have any questions, and thank you for the opportunity to provide the report.
Thank you, Director Allen. Are there any questions for Director Allen? Okay, hearing none, we'll move to our next item on the agenda, and that's a report from our Office of Government Ethics from our Acting Director of Office of Government Ethics, Ashley Cooks, who's also appearing by WebEx. Ms. Cooks, Director Cooks.
Good afternoon, Chairperson Hutcheson and members of the board. I'm Ashley Cooks, the Acting Director of the Office of Government Ethics. I'm pleased to present and report the activities of the Office of Government Ethics, OGE, for this past month. First, update on status of OGE operations. The information reported today regarding OGE's cases will not reflect any status changes that may occur as a result of actions taken by the board during today's meeting. For investigations, open investigations, we have 56 total. We have 3 open undocketed matters. We have 29 pending state investigations and 24 regulatory matters, for a total of 56 current investigations, and last month we have 59 investigations. The number of open, preliminary, and formal investigations includes 8 new matters open since the last board meeting. The investigative team resolved 9 preliminary investigations since the last board meeting. I would like to thank the investigative teams for their diligent work of investigating these matters. Next is training and outreach, professional staff development. During the month of June, several OGE employees attended trainings to prepare for next fiscal year. Those trainings included annual performance planning training and using and managing the DCP card. Program specialist Stan Kosick attended clarity and consciousness in business. Auditor Emmanuel Tajuba attended the following trainings: designing, conducting, and analyzing experiments in Six Sigma and Lean Foundations and Principles, understanding DOE and planning experiments in Six Sigma techniques for improvement, and big data marketing perspective. Trainings conducted by staff. Since the last board meeting, OGE attorneys conducted 3 total ethics trainings, which includes 2 general ethics trainings and a Hatch Act training for OAG. For the Office of the Attorney General, OAG. OGE held an ethics counselor virtual brown bag ethics forum on Monday, June 28, which was well attended. The topic was how the ethics rules apply to board and commission members' outside activities, interactions with their subordinate agency, and performance of official duties. This included best practices for maintaining ethical compliance with the Conflict of Interest statute and DPM restrictions such as capitalizing on official titles, divulging non-public information or information obtained as a result of government service, and the restriction on representation rule. During the ethics forum, ethics counselors were extremely engaged in the discussion, and we received positive feedback. In addition, 640 employees completed our online ethics training via PeopleSoft. Advisory opinions and advice. We answered approximately 54 informal advice requests, which is 9 more than the 45 reported at the June meeting. This number does not include responses we have provided to questions regarding the lobbyist and FDS e-filing systems. OGE has not issued any advisory opinions since the last meeting. Legislative updates. On June 8, 2021, Councilmember Allen introduced the Pro Bono Legal Representation Clarification Amendment Act of 2021 as an amendment to Section 223 of the Ethics Act by adding a new subsection which will allow employees to represent persons of limited income in affiliation with a nonprofit organization before district courts and federal courts and district and federal agencies. On June 15th, the bill was referred to the Committee on Judiciary and Public Safety. A copy of the updated bill was placed in the Dropbox for your review. Next is OGE Administrative Matters, OGE Staffing. I'm happy to report that OGE hired and onboarded Mr. Maurice Eccles to fill one of our attorney advisor vacancies. Maurice is from Chicago, Illinois. He attended undergrad at Fisk University in Nashville, Tennessee, where he received his bachelor's degree, majoring in business administration and psychology. He received an MBA from Middle Tennessee State University and his Juris Doctorate from the University of Tennessee, Knoxville College of Law. Maurice has clerked for various administrative law judges within DC government. He has practiced transactional law, employment law, white-collar defense, and lower level crimes such as DUI and narcotics. Most recently, he worked as a program manager within the Department of Employment Services, where he drafted revisions to the DC Code, established and updated policies and procedures, and managed both company-wide and individual audits concerning compliance issues with various DC wage theft laws. Maurice spends his free time on fitness training, movie watching, gardening, and family time with his wife and 3 children, who exercise his skill of logistics every day. We would like to take this time to welcome Maurice to BEGA. Lastly,
Thank you for having me.
Okay.
I was just saying thank you for having me.
Welcome. Lastly, the senior attorney advisor vacancy has been filled by Ms. Lynn Tran, who will start on August 23rd. Next is reporting. As discussed at the last board meeting, OGE has published a quarterly complaint report for Q2 of FY 2021. We plan to publish the remaining quarterly reports by the end of this month. Budget. The agency's budget hearing was held on June 16, 2021, at which Chairperson Hutcheson, Director Allen, and myself testified. Councilmember Niquelle and her staff have taken a strong interest in our budget enhancement request, specifically our need for larger office space. On this past Monday, with the assistance of the Department of General Services, we submitted a revised decision point memorandum to the Office of the City Administrator. The decision point memorandum emphasizes BEGA's need for additional space and provides details for vacant office space at 955 LaFont Plaza. We are still hopeful that with the help of DGS and the council, it is possible that we can move to the space at 955 LaFont Plaza. A copy of the decision point memorandum was placed in the Dropbox for your review. In addition, at the request of Councilmember Niquelle, OGE provided updated performance data on some of the office's operations since the February 26th performance oversight hearing. As of June 24th for FY21, OGE has conducted a total of 107 ethics trainings, answered 373 informal advice requests, initiated 56 investigations, closed 24 investigations, entered into 1 negotiated disposition, issued 2 ministerial fine orders, and collected $98,000 in lobbyist fees. A copy of the OGE submission was placed in the Dropbox as well. Next is financial disclosure and lobbyist matters. Starting with lobbyist matters, as of June 25th, the LLR team received 13 registration reports, 10 new and 3 renewals, 1 activity report, and 1 support ticket. Second quarter activity reports are due on July 15th. The LLR team will send notice to all lobbyists and clients, reminding them of this requirement. The LLR team welcomes Mr. Maurice Eccles as the lobbyist attorney. Financial disclosure statement, June 15th marked the due date for the calendar year 2020 financial disclosure statements. As of this date, 3,417, which is 91% of the 3,767 public filers have filed their required financial disclosure statements. In contrast to last year, on July 15, 2020, only 3,100 filers had completed their statements. Over the course of the official filing period, the number of support tickets filed have decreased from 789 to 215, a 73% reduction in the number of support tickets. Of note, password failures are down 85%. Since the due date, the FDS team received the names of approximately 30 filers who were not included on their agency's initial list, received in March. Of note, 1 agency did not respond to BEGA until June 24th, and filers were noticed on June 25th. This will result in late filers. However, we are working with those agencies and those employees to get their statements filed as soon as possible. Over the course of the filing season, the FDS team handled a handful of calls from filers who did not have the 2021 filing option on their profile. These were handled piecemeal through Octo Remedy. On June 23rd, during a reconciliation effort, the FDS team noted 134 who filed their calendar year 2019 statements. And as it turns out, several of these filers filed a 2019 statement in lieu of their 2020 filing. So we're also working with Octo to get that situation rectified. At this time, the FDS team will continue to work with filers and ethics counselors to achieve compliance. The public filer report is due to the DC Register on July 16th. The confidential filer program has been a success. We've received positive feedback from confidential filers who like the ease of filing electronically. The goal is to allow CFDS and PFDS filers to use the same e-file system district-wide. This will allow agency ethics counselors to more easily maintain ethics-related records, analyze agency compliance, and easily access information to address possible conflicts of interest. BEGA is also in the process of refunding some confidential filers who claimed they filed timely. In the month of June, our auditor completed the processing of employee fine reimbursement for 73 employees for a total of $22,000. Thank you. This concludes the report for the Office of Government Ethics for the July 1st, 2021 meeting. I welcome any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Director Cooks. Are there any questions for Director Cooks? Okay, hearing none. I'd also like to, the board, welcome on behalf of the board, Mr. Eccles, welcome to the BEGA staff. Okay, next on our agenda is public comments. I don't think, we have one request from a Mr. Robert Branham that related to the notice he did not receive for his FDS filing. I'm not sure if Mr. Branham is here or not, or if you have anything additional you need to say. I did forward that information internally so that it could be handled. So I don't see.
I believe we have one person in the attendee list. Let me check.
Okay.
So yes, he's present, Mr. Commissioner Branham.
Mr. Branham, did you have anything additional to add to what you sent in your letter?
Let's see, Kevon, if you can unmute him. I'm not sure if he can unmute himself. There.
Yes.
Okay. Did you have anything additional to add to what you sent in your letter?
Well, my letter indicated that I received the first notice of non-compliance, and I reached out to Mr. Cossack and Ms. Stewart Mitchell, and it had been confirmed that I did file timely on April 15th, and that the record will be amended, and we can move forward. In my case, it's been resolved. There are others, I understand, who are similarly situated, but my issue has been resolved.
Okay. Okay. Then we'll take any other steps we have to resolve the other issues for the other commissioners you speak of. Okay. The next item on the agenda is the executive/closed session for the board. And this is a closed session to discuss ongoing confidential investigations pursuant to DC Official Code, Section 2-575B14, to consult with an attorney to obtain legal advice and to preserve the attorney-client privilege between attorney and a public body pursuant to DC Official Code, Section 2-575B4A, to discuss personnel matters, including the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, performance evaluation, compensation, discipline, demotion, removal, or resignation of government appointees, employees, or officials pursuant to DC Official Code, Section 2-575B10, to deliberate on a decision in which the Ethics Board will exercise quasi-judicial functions pursuant to DC Official Code 2-575B13, and to discuss contract negotiation strategies pursuant to DC Official Code 2-575B2. May I have a motion to enter into executive session?
I'll offer the motion that we enter into executive session.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Great. I ask that you log out of this meeting and log into the executive session. Thank you. There are 3 of the 4 of us here, so I'm going to go ahead and report out. First, we voted to enter into negotiated disposition in case number 20-0002-F, the matter of Marion Foster. And secondly, we wanted to report out that on our behalf, the OAG has entered into a settlement in Ray Jack Evans with 2 case numbers 20-0004F and 18-0006P as in Paul. And those 2 matters, those 2 reported matters are the entirety of what we wanted to report out. Okay. This concludes the meeting of the DC Board of Ethics and Government Accountability for July. Our next meeting will also be held remotely by WebEx, and it will take place on August 5th, 2021 at 12 noon. Everyone have a safe and happy 4th of July, and we'll see you next month.
Okay, happy Independence Day, everybody. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Take care, everyone.
Everyone. Thanks.
Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you. Bye-bye.